Hello guys, RyanDude5678 here, and today I am providing you guys with the return of an old series on the channel that I have not done since Chapter 2, Season 6. What is that video, you might be asking? Well, today, with the launch of Paradise, aka Chapter 3, Season 4, I'm going to be bringing back the Initial Thoughts series. Again, the last time I did this series was in Chapter 2, Season 6, and that was well over a year ago now as of recording this. But I knew that with the launch of Chapter 3, Season 4, with how interesting this season has been so far, I just knew I had to bring this series back now, more so than ever before. I was actually originally going to bring this series back in Chapter 3, Season 1, but in the end I decided I just didn't really feel motivated enough to do that just yet, and with the launch of Chapter 3 Season 4 that has definitely changed. This season has brought so much to the table, and I just have to discuss it all with you guys today. Before we get into this though, I'd like to discuss why I got rid of this series in the first place. You may be wondering why I just magically stopped doing it after Chapter 2 Season 6. The reason that is because at the launch of Chapter 2 Season 7, the microphone that I used at the time actually broke, so I had no way to do commentary videos or even play with friends with a microphone involved, unless I literally called them from my phone on Discord. And by the time that I actually got a new microphone, it was way too late into the season to do an Initial Thoughts series. So, with the fact that I missed out on the Chapter 2 Season 7 video, I just kinda lost motivation to bring this series back, but with this season's incredibly interesting changes, I knew now was the time. So with all that said guys, let's get into my initial thoughts on Chapter 3 Season 4, Paradise. Number 1. The Battle Pass. So, to start this initial thoughts series back off with a bang, I think it's only natural that we discuss one of the main parts of the season, the Battle Pass. This Battle Pass is really interesting, and honestly I would argue it's probably my favourite one of the chapter so far. There are a ton of incredible skins in here, and let's just discuss them one by one, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on every single one. First off, we have Paradigm Reality 659. This is obviously the upgraded armor version of Paradigm that we have seen in many of the previous seasons in Chapter 3, most notably the Collision live event from Chapter 3 Season 2, Resistance. I have been waiting for this literally since that event happened. You know, we got the Jones Unchained skin, we got the pilot skins for the event, so I was thinking that we would get the upgraded Paradigm back then. But because it never ended up happening, I kinda lost hope that this was going to become a skin. But man, am I finally so happy to say that I was wrong when saying that, because the new Paradigm is finally here and I could not be more excited. I by far prefer this version of Paradigm over her original counterpart. I just like the armor design a lot more. I actually really think Brie Larson's face suits the Paradigm a lot. I know a lot of people are, you know, kind of controversial about that whole change. And, you know, people expected Paradigm to be the Singularity, and now that she's Brie Larson, people think that Epic are just doing it for the money and the collaborations, but I think she does an incredible job not only voice acting the Paradigm, but playing her role. And in my opinion, I just prefer this version of the Paradigm with Brie Larson so much more over her original counterpart. She has more styles, more personality, and I just love the whole backstory behind her upgraded armor. They discussed why she actually upgraded her armor in the Zero War comics between Fortnite and Marvel, and it was because her old armor was actually damaged after being abandoned on the Ice Moon after the events of the Monster vs. Mech event. You know, obviously she was up there for so long, just completely abandoned, and by the time that the Foundation and all these other characters came to find her, you know, her armor was getting severely damaged by the effects of the Ice Moon. And so the scientist actually decided to upgrade her armor for her, and that is the context as to why she has this new design. So yeah man, I just absolutely adore this new version of the Paradigm. I'm really excited to see where the storyline goes with her and just her whole character in the future, and I'm just really excited to finally have her in the game. Definitely one of my favourite outfits in this Battle Pass. Next up, we have the Bite skin. This skin is interesting. It's definitely not my favourite outfit in the Battle Pass. In fact, I would argue it's probably one of my least favourites in the Battle Pass. But that doesn't mean it's a bad skin. I just think it's a little too basic for me personally. I'm just not a fan of the design of the skin either. The character model looks a little weird in my opinion. I don't know, I'm just not the biggest fan of this skin personally. It's not really my style, but I can definitely see why people would like him, and I can definitely respect people that do like him. I don't really have much else to say about this guy. I like the fact that he has the chrome hands. I wonder if he's going to play a bigger part in the storyline this season. I don't know. But in general, as a skin, he's not all that interesting in my opinion. But I am interested to see if he plays a part in the storyline this season. And that's really all I have to say about him. His set's definitely more interesting. I like his pickaxe, although it is restricted to him, so I'm a little disappointed about that. Especially given the pickaxe was probably my favourite part of the set besides the glider. So to see it restricted like we're back in Chapter 2 Season 4 was really disappointing. And yeah man, just overall I feel like the only thing I'm really going to see myself using in this set is the glider and maybe even the wrap. But that is just my opinion. Next up, we have the Meow Skull skin. The Meow Skull skin is actually canonically Meowscles' sister in the storyline, and this is actually a really interesting skin. I actually really like this one. I would actually argue that it's in my top 3 for this Battle Pass. I just really like the whole idea of having almost expanded family trees in skins. I think that's a really unique idea and I really hope we get more of that in the future. I don't know, I just really like the idea of skins having, I don't know, families and relatives, and like, it really just gives them more personality and it makes them feel definitely more real and relatable as a character, more so than just being another skin or another set of pixels, you know. But yeah man, I'm actually a really big fan of this skin. I really like the design. I love the ghost edit style. It's a little weird that they didn't do a shadow edit style, but as someone that did join Team Ghost, like I went full Team Ghost in Chapter 2 Season 2, I am a huge fan of this style and this skin in general. And I'm really happy that they actually added this ghost style as someone that was Team Ghost back in Chapter 2. Her set is definitely a little bland. Like, her glider is just a default Chapter 3 glider with cats on it. The pickaxe is definitely really cool. I think it's a little basic, but I'm actually really happy that we have it, because there are a ton of bone themed skins in the game, so I think this is definitely a worthy addition to your collection, especially if you like running Skull Trooper or any of the skull skins from that skull pack back in Halloween. This pickaxe will definitely be for you if you enjoy running those skins. And in general, I think this whole set is really, really interesting. The wrap is a little basic, but I actually really do like it. And in general, this whole set is just really, really cool and definitely in my top 3 for this Battle Pass. Next up, we have the Grizz skin. Now this one is definitely not only the meme skin for this season, but I would also argue that it's probably the most unique skin we've seen in this Battle Pass, and maybe even this chapter in terms of Battle Passes. It's like this slimy slurp monster, almost like, it definitely reminds me of the Ripley skin from Chapter 2 Season 1. But instead of just being, you know, a slurp monster, it has this really cool bear mask. It has a bear inside of the chest. It's almost like he is controlling the skin, like the outer shell, the outer slurpy shell of the skin. Because, like, the small bear inside of the chest is like holding a controller. So it's almost like that bear inside of the chest is controlling the outer shell. And I find that really, really unique. I love it when Epic does unique skins like this, even though they're usually not all that popular, because they are usually pretty bulky skins, and most people tend to run female skins in this game nowadays, so obviously it's not going to be all that popular. But you definitely have to give this skin credit for being unique and a really big standout in the Battle Pass. The set itself is pretty interesting. It's probably what you'd expect from a Slurpee-esque skin. You have a Slurp-themed pickaxe, you have almost like a Gumbo-esque glider. Like, the glider from this set definitely reminds me of Gumbo's glider from Chapter 3 Season 1. And yeah man, the wrap is also pretty interesting and just overall, it's a pretty unique, interesting set. I have a feeling a lot of the Slurp series fans are going to enjoy this set a lot, especially the rap. And yeah, man, definitely one of those middle of the road Battle Pass sets that are definitely a worthy addition to my collection. Next up, we have Lennox Rose. This is the anime skin for Chapter 3 Season 4, and honestly, I would argue that this is my least favourite skin in the Battle Pass. Not because it's bad, but just because I am personally not the biggest fan of the anime skins, and just in general, I don't think the anime filter looks all that good on this skin. I don't know if it's because I run performance mode, but I'll show you guys on screen what it looks like for me, and I think you can tell it just kind of looks like a mess on performance mode. Maybe it'll look better on max graphics, but as someone that doesn't run that, I can definitely not see myself running the skin throughout the season, beyond my first few runs with the skin. But hey, it's not a bad skin, and I'm actually really happy that it's a part of the game. You know, I'm always down for more anime skins, even if they aren't particularly my style. And the set itself is actually pretty cool. You got some pretty decent items in there. But at the end of the day, I would definitely argue that this is my least favourite skin in the Battle Pass. But at the end of the day, even if it's a really good skin, you're always going to have a least favourite in every single Battle Pass, even if it is still a good skin. And unfortunately for Lennox Rose, that is just the case for me. Next up, we have the Twin Skin. The Twin Skin is by far in my top 3 for this Battle Pass. I literally knew that this guy was going to be in my top 3 ever since I saw him for the first time. I love the idea of him putting on this VR headset and then transforming into almost like their VR counterpart, in which case this would be a female, like, almost character for his VR universe. Like, I love how he's almost transforming into, like, this opposite gender virtual character that he uses in this VR headset that he puts on. Like, it's a really, really unique idea. This guy honestly reminds me of Torian from Chapter 2 Season 8 with the whole cape hoodie combination thing going on. It's a really, really unique skin in terms of design, and I actually really, really do like it. I think all of his edit styles look great as well, and in general, I just really, really do like this skin. I think it's a really unique take on a skin. I love how it reminds me of Torian, almost like a male counterpart to that skin. And in general, just a really, really solid skin. The set itself is also really damn good. I actually really like how it almost reminds me of Crypto from Apex Legends. As someone that mains him in that game, besides, well, maybe Mirage, I feel like I main both of those characters in that game. As someone that mains Crypto and Mirage in that game, having a skin that reminds me of one of my mains in that game definitely brings a smile to my face, especially with all of the Apex-esque features that this season has that we'll get to later. Really cool skin, man. Really cool skin. Definitely in my top 3 for the season. And finally, we have the Gwen Stacy skin. This is the tier 100 for Chapter 3 Season 4. And although I'm a little disappointed that it is another collaboration, like we have yet to get a unique tier 100 skin from a Fortnite original in Chapter 3, like we have gotten 100% collaborations this chapter when it comes down to tier 100s. And although I don't really mind anymore, like I don't mind nearly as much as I did in Chapter 2 Season 4. Like, back then I was not a fan of collaborations in the Battle Pass at all, but nowadays I don't really care. Even though that is the case, I would have liked to have seen her, like, maybe midway through the Battle Pass, but that's just my opinion. Either way, the set itself is absolutely phenomenal. They did everything flawlessly, as Epic's art team usually does. It's insane how accurate they got the skin. And in general, man, the whole set is really cool. I really like how her emote is almost like 24 FPS, just like where she originates from, with that whole art style. I think it's a really, really cool idea to make the emote match where she originates from. The glider is like almost like this cartoony-esque filter version of the Chapter 3 Season 1 Spider-Man glider, which obviously is always welcome. You know, maybe some people missed out on that Battle Pass and they need a new version of that glider. If that's the case, this is definitely for you. And in general, man, this whole set is definitely one I recommend picking up if you are going for the Battle Pass. This is one of those tier 100 sets that you don't want to miss out on, and I would 100% recommend this Battle Pass for anyone who likes Spider-Man. And yeah, that is the Battle Pass, guys. There is still one more skin set to talk about, and that is, of course, the Secret Skin. The secret skin for this season is actually a unique Fortnite original, and that is the Herald. The Herald is of course the Bloom Watcher, or the mysterious character that we saw at the end of the Chapter 3 Season 3 cinematic trailer. We've been theorising when she was going to come and what she was going to do, and now she is finally here as this season's secret skin, and oh boy am I excited to unlock her. Her set is phenomenal. I love the reality tree-esque theme that she has going on. I love the almost just flower design that she has. It's an absolutely incredible, unique set, and I'm really happy that we finally have another unique secret skin. Although I am a little disappointed that they didn't black out the skin to at least give it some form of mystery, you know, while we wait to unlock her. Just like they did with the Cube Queen, where she was blacked out, she was mysterious, we didn't know who she was, so we couldn't see any of her set. Unfortunately, we can just look at the set off launch, like there's nothing mysterious about it. We already know what the secret skin is, we just can't unlock it yet. That's a little unfortunate. I would have liked to have, you know, completely had no idea what secret skin was. But either way, the set itself is still absolutely phenomenal. I love everything about it, and I cannot wait to unlock her later on in this season. But yeah guys, besides the bonus styles that we get every season, that is pretty much the whole Battle Pass. Really solid Battle Pass this time around. I would argue this is actually my favourite Chapter 3 Battle Pass. Maybe on par with Chapter 3 Season 1's Battle Pass. I would argue that was my favourite up until now, but now I would argue that Chapter 3 Season 4 is actually tied with Season 1. But let me know what you guys think. This Battle Pass is pretty damn good in my opinion, but I'm excited to hear what you guys think. Personally, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, I would give it a solid 7.5 or 8 out of 10. Not the best Battle Pass we've ever seen, but definitely some skins, especially the Paradigm, that I see myself running for chapters on end. Like, I do not see myself stopping running the Paradigm, especially as I prefer this version of the Paradigm over the original, so I definitely see myself running that skin for seasons and seasons, maybe even chapters on end. But let me know what you guys think of this Battle Pass down below. I'm going to be hearting and responding to every single comment that I can, as I always do. But with that said guys, let's move on to our next topic. Number 2. The map. Of course, we couldn't discuss my initial thoughts on a new season without discussing the new map. This map has a ton of interesting changes, a bunch of storyline related changes, a bunch of incredible new changes, and a bunch of really interesting things to talk about. So with that said, let's just get right into this discussion. First off, we have Lustrous Lagoon. Lustrous Lagoon is basically the Lazy Lagoon location that we had last season, but completely corrupted by the Chrome substance. Chrome has been completely spreading over the island, as you could see in the Chapter 3 Season 4 cinematic trailer, and Lazy Lagoon unfortunately met its end. It has been completely corrupted by this gooey, chromy substance, and now the ship that was originally in the water in this place has been completely lifted up into the air via the No Sweat company that roams the island. The No Sweat insurance company has been lifting multiple areas off of the ground to protect it from the chrome that has been rapidly spreading across the island and will continue to do so throughout the season. If you land at Lustrous Lagoon now, you'll find the pirate ship completely levitated in the sky that you can get to via zip lines, and you can even reach these newfound balloons on the map to glide or redeploy to your heart's content. These are a new feature with the new season, and they are all over the map. You can find them in Tilted, you can find them in all of the new locations pretty much, and in general, they are a definite welcome addition to the map. They bring incredible mobility, they are really fun to play with, and in general, I'm really happy to see these in the game. They remind me of the Apex Legends balloons that you could zipline up to get some distance, as I stated earlier, and it is definitely a welcome addition to the game. I absolutely love the balloons, and Lustrous Lagoon is definitely one of the locations for them. So if you land here, definitely don't forget that they exist, because you can get some incredible distance by using their glider redeploy feature. How do I feel about Lazy Lagoon in general now? Well, with this Lustrous Lagoon transformation, I would argue that it's honestly more interesting than it was last season. I would actually say that I prefer Lustrous Lagoon over Lazy Lagoon. I think the whole idea of having the ship float into the sky, almost like one of the blimps from Chapter 3 Season 2, is a really unique idea, and having the zip lines to get up there, having the cannons at your disposal, having the balloons at your disposal, All of these changes make for a really interesting location, and because of the new chrome, you can actually go through any of the silver buildings that you find in this place. You can actually just straight up go through the walls. You can farm some of the things over there to get one of the new items, the chrome splash. And in general, an absolutely phenomenal area. I definitely want to see myself land here more, and I'm definitely going to try and do that this season. Next up, we have Fort Jonesy, the new and improved version of the Joneses. I'm actually not really sure how I feel about this place yet. The Joneses was one of my main locations throughout Chapter 3 up until this point, and honestly it's really weird having all of these extra bridges and locations around it. It's really hard to get used to after pretty much exclusively landing there besides Chunkers Speedway. I feel like those two locations were like my go-to drop spots, maybe even Dusty Depot as well ever since Season 3 launched. Those are like my top 3 locations for sure. So it's definitely going to take some adjusting to get used to, but I think in general this is definitely, you know, a needed change. I like how they've been adjusting so many of the launch locations for the Chapter 3 map. That is something that you definitely cannot say for the Chapter 2 map. Literally no area that launched with that map changed, outside of maybe a name change and some extra assets and textures on there. Besides that, literally nothing on the Chapter 2 map changed in terms of the default locations. So even if I end up not preferring Fort Jonesy over the Joneses, I do appreciate that they're trying to change some of the older locations from the map. Next up, we have Shimmering Shrine, the new version of Shuffle Shrines. This is pretty much the exact same location. The only difference that I've noticed so far is that the boulder base that was underneath this place for the extra loot is no longer there, at least to my acknowledgement. I don't think it's there anymore, but other than that, I'm pretty sure this location, other than the chrome being there, is absolutely identical to its Season 3 counterpart. It's just as fun to land there as it was last season, and honestly, I'm glad that they kept this place on the map. I don't really have much else to say about it. The only thing that I've noticed changed about this place is the fact that the boulder is no longer able to get unlocked with like the 4 coloured keys. I'm pretty sure that doesn't exist anymore, but even if it does, this place is pretty much identical to what it was last season, besides the chrome spreading there. And in general, definitely a welcome addition to the map. I'm glad it stuck around. And finally, the main named location that we have this season is Herald's Sanctum, the new and improved Sanctuary. The Seven's home has been completely taken over by Herald. You have this huge chrome castle that has been taken over by the Herald, and you can actually fight her for her mythic weapon. We'll get to that later when I talk about the loot pool. And in general, I actually really do like this place. I never landed at Sanctuary. That was definitely a place that I only, like, pretty much exclusively rotated to instead of landed at. So I'm honestly all for this change. I actually think I prefer this so much more over the Sanctuary. And, you know, most of the Sanctuary buildings are still around. It's just the main one that got replaced with this chrome castle. So in the end, I think I definitely prefer this over the Sanctuary that we had prior. The boss fight is really cool. It really gives me some Chapter 2 Season 2 flashbacks with like the bosses and everything. Really cool to see some more bosses in the game. I'm always down for those. The chrome is incredible. You even have this chrome tornado that is, you know, stationary at this location. And if you go inside of it, it pretty much acts like a normal tornado, but it turns you into the chrome transformation that you would get by chug splashing yourself with one of the new chrome splashes. Either way, definitely one of my favourite locations this season. Next up, we have Cloudy Condos, the transformed version of Condo Canyon. Condo Canyon has been completely lifted into the skies, similar to Lustrous Lagoon, thanks to No Sweat Insurance. They are protecting Condo Canyon from the chrome spreading across the island, and honestly, this place is a little confusing, but I'm actually really having fun with it. I barely landed at Condo Canyon originally, so having this new version that's pretty much a built-in sky base to the map, it's really cool and it's such a nice change of pace. It reminds me of the Chapter 1 Season 9 sky bases, where you could use the wind tunnels to actually get on top of them. I don't remember their official name, but I've always just called them sky bases. It reminds me of that, but as a whole new entire POI. Not only that, but the Reality Bloom location actually stuck around in this place. So if you land at Cloudy Condos, you can actually still find the Colossal Coliseum Reality Bloom around Condo Canyon. And that is actually the case with all of the Reality Bloom locations that we had last season. Sleepy Sound still has the Coral Castle side effects, Butterbarn is still Neo Butterbarn, etc. So yeah, it is definitely interesting to see these Reality Bloom POIs stick around, especially with the final big map change that we have to talk about. Finally, the Reality Tree. The Reality Tree has been completely drained of its 0-point energy, and it has presumably just completely been destroyed. The Reality Tree that was once blooming and thriving with a huge purple biome around it is now dead and destroyed, and the huge purple biome that was once spread due to the Reality Tree is now this dead, yellowy orange primal-esque biome. You can definitely tell that there is something up with the Reality Tree. I don't know if the 0-point energy has just simply been drained from it, or what. But either way, this place is absolutely dead and deserted. And I'm really excited to see where the storyline goes in terms of the Reality Tree, because it clearly still has some form of power because of the fact that the Reality Bloom biomes and locations are still around, but the main Reality Tree itself is just dead and destroyed, and the entire biome that it brought along with it is just absolutely corrupted and destroyed. If you actually go to Herald's Sanctum, you can actually see the Herald looking over the Reality Tree at her base. So maybe the Herald has something to do with the Reality Tree getting destroyed. Maybe the Reality Tree was created by her. We don't know, but I'm assuming all of that and more will get revealed in this season's live event, assuming we get one, of course. But yeah, guys, besides all of that, that is pretty much all of the mainline major map changes that we got this season. There are a few smaller changes, like we got one of the buildings in Tilted Towers, aka the No Sweat Insurance building, lifted off of the ground to protect it from the chrome when it inevitably spreads across the map, and a few more areas like that. But other than that, that is all the major map changes that we have to talk about. But before I discuss the loot pool, I would like to discuss one more map change for you guys, and that is the fact that there is a rift that has opened above Loot Lake and has brought back none other than the original Chapter 1 Loot Lake Island and house. Obviously, Loot Lake has existed since the start of Chapter 3, but there was always something missing. But that once missing thing has returned to the island, and that is the Loot Lake house. It is now located right on the Loot Lake Island. You can find it right below the rift that has opened in the sky, and presumably that very same rift is the very thing that brought this thing back in the first place. I don't know why this rift randomly opened. Maybe it was due to the paradigm entering the 0-point at the end of the trailer for this season. Maybe that caused a rift to open and bring this place back. I don't know what the backstory behind it is, but the fact that it is back is something that I've been waiting for since the start of this chapter. Ever since I realised that this was Loot Lake, something just felt missing. It was always such a boring location. It was just a hassle to get around. It was a hassle to land at. You would literally never land here because there was no loot. But now that the Loot Lake house is back, in combination with the Chapter 3 Season 3 changes that happened around Loot Lake, this place has actually transformed into a really solid location, and I could actually see it becoming one of my new main drop spots for the season. But yeah, guys, besides that, that is all of the map changes that we have to talk about with Chapter 3 Season 4. Obviously, there are a few more things scattered across the map, like you can find vaults all over the island, like you can collect keys, but all of that I'll discuss alongside the loot pool, as that is definitely more loot pool oriented than map oriented. Number 3. The loot pool. By far the most important thing about any new season, in my opinion, is the loot pool and the meta for the season. And oh my god, did this season not disappoint. You guys know that Chapter 3 Season 3 had one of my least favourite, if not my least favourite loot pools of all time in Fortnite. If you want to know all of my thoughts about that season in depth, you can visit my Why Vibing is my most hated season video. I uploaded that last season, and it discusses all of the reasons why I just wasn't the biggest fan of the season. But this season definitely had its redemption arc. It kept some of the best items from Chapter 3 Season 3, such as the Hammer AR, the DMR, etc. But it also brought back some of the best items they possibly could have brought back. Let me just list off all of the returning items that came back this season. So, for the returning items, we have the Sidearm Pistol, the Ranger Assault Rifle, the Hammer Assault Rifle, the DMR, the Prime Shotgun, the Grenades, the Firefly jars, the harpoon guns, the shadow tracker and dub shotgun exotic weapons, the boom sniper, the boogie bombs, and the shockwave grenades. These are all incredible returns, and I'm really happy to see that all of these stuck around. But now, let's discuss the returning unvaulted items. We have the lever action shotgun, the rapid fire SMG, the suppressed SMG, and the hunter bolt action sniper. These returns are absolutely incredible. If you guys don't know, the lever action shotgun is my favourite weapon in Fortnite history, and I am absolutely ecstatic that it has finally made a return. We haven't seen this thing since, I'm pretty sure, Chapter 2 Season 8, so the finale of Chapter 2. Ever since Chapter 3 launched, we have not seen this thing in the loot pool, and I am absolutely thrilled to see my favourite Fortnite weapon make its return. But not only that, we have the rapid fire SMG, an absolutely phenomenal SMG. This is how a powerful SMG is done right. You make it have an incredible amount of damage and fire rate, but you balance that out with a very small clip size. This is the combat SMG, and just in general a powerful SMG done right, and I'm beyond happy to see that rapid fire make its return. But not only that, but we have the suppressed SMG as well, now available in all rarities. No longer is it just common to rare, this thing can be found in epic and legendary and even mythic as well. Same goes for the rapid fire. The rapid fire also got a mythic variant with this season, so now you can find the rapid fire SMG and suppressed SMG in all rarities, even mythic. These are absolutely phenomenal additions to the SMG lineup, and the SMG meta has been completely replaced and changed with this season. The Stinger SMG and Charge SMG have met the vault, and they are no longer in the loot pool. The rapid fire and the suppressed have taken their place. In my opinion, this is by far the best thing that they could have done for this season. The SMG meta has absolutely dominated Chapter 3 for the first 3 seasons of its lifetime, especially in Chapter 3 Season 1 and 2. But to finally see 2 really balanced and fun to use SMGs make their return in place of them, absolutely incredible. But not only that, but we have the Hunter Bolt action making its return from Chapter 3 Season 1. Why is the Hunter Bolt action returning a good thing? I'm pretty sure everyone hated that weapon, so why is that a good thing? Well, let me discuss why the Hunter Bolt returning is one of the best things to happen to this season. Take a look on screen and you will see that every sniper rifle in Fortnite history, even ones that are currently only available in creative because they are vaulted, have been buffed. The Hunter Bolt action sniper, the hunting rifle, the automatic sniper rifle, the lever action rifle, the suppressed sniper rifle, the semi-auto sniper rifle, the railgun, the bolt action sniper rifle, the heavy sniper rifle, the storm scout sniper rifle, and the boom sniper rifle exotic have all been buffed to now be able to one-shot your opponents in the head. Even if you're playing zero build and you have 250 HP, literally every sniper in the game can one-shot you to the head. Maybe there are some exceptions, like it says here that the boom sniper rifle can do increased explosive damage, so I'm not sure if that sniper can one-shot headshot for 250 damage, especially as I don't really pick that sniper rifle up. But either way, just having every sniper in the game able to one-shot headshot and just do more damage is absolutely incredible. I am stoked that they made this change. People have been asking for this since Chapter 3 launched, and they removed the ability to one-shot headshot you with a sniper. People are going ecstatic over this change, and it is definitely understandable as to why. This is by far one of the best changes, if not the best change that Epic has made this season in my opinion, and I am just ecstatic to say that the sniper rifle is now finally, once again, a main part of my loadout. Speaking of the keys that I was talking about earlier when I was discussing the map, look on screen here and you will see what they are actually for. Becoming Chrome isn't the only way to unlock your potential. There's a good chance you'll come across keys on the island. Use them to open vaults containing loot. Low security vaults require 1 key to open, while high security vaults require 2 keys for the reward of more items. Where to find this locked loot? After collecting 1 or more keys, you'll see keyhole signs on your map to help you out. These keys that you'll find across the island pretty much are the Chapter 3 Season 4 equivalent of the Chapter 2 Season 2 key cards and the vaults. These vaults are absolutely scattered across the island. Like, there are like 3 or 4 times as many vaults here than there was in Chapter 2 Season 2. These are absolutely incredible features. I've already had a blast with them, and the season's only been out for 2 days as of recording this video. Like, I'm recording this on September the 20th, and the season came out on the 18th, so it's literally been 2 days, and I can already say with confidence that this is one of the best features that they have introduced into Chapter 3. This is by far such a better take on vaults, and in my opinion, I really hope this stays beyond this season. It is an absolutely incredible feature, while not being too overpowered. The only thing I would say is maybe lower their spawn rate a bit, because I feel like every single game I have max of 3 keys, which is the max that you can hold with keys. So I feel like almost everyone in the game, like 5 to 10 minutes in, has an epic or legendary loadout, and that could probably be an issue by the end of the season. I don't know. I'm having a blast with it so far. Like, that's not a complaint that I have right now, but maybe later on down the line we could see it getting a little repetitive, seeing how everyone can essentially have a full purple or gold loadout like 5 minutes into the match. I don't know, I feel like the keys could definitely have a lower spawn rate, but that's definitely not something that I'm absolutely begging to see happen. Moving on though, we have the Port a Bunker. Under assault from enemies, deploy potent cover fast with a Port a Bunker, taking the place of the Port a Fort this season. Throw down the Port a Bunker to create an instant 1x1 structure featuring reinforced metal walls, a versatile ramp, doors, and defensive tires to bounce away would-be invaders. No building required. This is essentially just a way more balanced version of the Port Fort, and I already know that they straight up designed this for zero build. I could not see this being useful in build modes at all. Like, I literally do not see a single person using this in build modes. I mean, I haven't played build modes yet this season, but I can already tell that no one's going to use this season in build modes. It just doesn't seem logical to when you can build unless you have no mats. But for players such as myself, this is huge. One of my biggest problems with the Port Fort last season was that it was way too overpowered in zero build. It was like if you didn't hold 2 Port Forts, you were essentially just putting yourself at a disadvantage and griefing the entire game. So to have a balanced down Port Fort for zero build in the form of the Port a Bunker is definitely something that I was asking for, and definitely appreciate the introduction of. The last thing that we have to discuss in the loot pool are the new items. We've talked about unvaulted and returning items, but now it's time to discuss the new items that made their introduction with Paradise. So, we have 3 major new items this season that consist of the Evo Chrome Burst Assault Rifle, the Evo Chrome Shotgun, and the Chrome Splash. These are the 3 major items that are new to this season, and honestly, I am not the biggest fan of the Evo Chrome weapons. The shotgun is alright, but the burst AR I just do not see myself using at all, especially when we have the hammer AR in the game. I feel like that is just essentially the Chapter 3 version of the Scar, so why would you ever pick up this Evo Chrome Burst Rifle over it? I feel like the only version that is actually decent is the Herald's Mythic Burst AR. I discussed earlier that the Herald actually held a mythic item, and her mythic item for the season is actually a mythic version of the Evo Chrome Burst AR. And let me tell you, that is the only way I could ever see myself running this assault rifle. I definitely see the hammer AR being my go-to AR this season, with the Ranger being right below that. I do not see myself running this Evo Chrome AR at all, unless it's literally the first thing I find, which is usually not the case, because I'm pretty sure you can only find these weapons in chrome chests, which can only be found in chrome locations, or if you chrome splash a regular chest and turn it into one. So these weapons aren't all that common anyway, so with all of that in mind, I just really do not see myself running this AR. The shotgun, however, is definitely more viable. This is definitely not a weapon that I mind using off spawn, and I might even consider running it in the mid-game if I am yet to find a really good rarity prime or lever. But in the end, it's definitely still one of those weapons that as soon as I find a prime or lever, it is going right into the trash. The thing about this shotgun that makes it unique and stand out from other ones is that it simply has this stupidly wide spread when it comes down to the bullets that it shoots. It almost reminds me of an Apex Legends Mastiff shotgun with the crosshair design that this thing has. When it comes down to this shotgun, I'm definitely not going to take it over anything else. I think the spread is just way too weird. I think it's way too hard to hit a really high damage shot with this thing. And although I really like the mechanic that these weapons have, because I am yet to discuss this, but these Evo Chrome weapons actually have a unique mechanic, where the more damage you do, you can actually upgrade your weapon. So no longer do you need to go to an upgrade bench to upgrade your weapons. As long as you deal damage with these Evo Chrome weapons, you can actually just upgrade your weapons automatically once you fill up this bar that you can find right below the weapon's name. Once that bar is filled up, just press your reload button, and you should be able to upgrade your weapon with no gold required. And while that's definitely a unique feature that I'd love to see more, I do not think these weapons are worth picking up just because of that mechanic. I don't think that mechanic single-handedly saves these weapons, and unfortunately, as cool as it is, I don't see that being the reason I'm going to pick these up over a prime or lever-action shotgun, or a ranger or hammer AR. Finally, we have the Chrome Splash. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the Evo Chrome weapons, I will admit that the Chrome Splash is definitely a welcome addition to the game. This thing has two main functions. We have the regular way to use this thing, where if you throw it down to the ground like a regular Chug Splash, you will actually not only slowly heal over time, very slowly, almost as slowly as the day one version of the Guzzle Juice, but you will also transform into this Chrome being. This is Season 4's main mechanic, and transforming into Chrome will not only allow you to be immune to fire, but it will also allow you to transform into a Chrome blob. Doing so will allow you to do this dash move, it will allow you to be way harder to hit because you're way smaller of a target. It will also just allow you to get an upper hand on your enemies, it will allow you to swim insanely fast, and in general, being this Chrome blob is actually really fun and by far one of my favourite parts of the new season. You can also do what you would regularly do in Chrome locations, like make your way through walls with the Chrome blob. You can still do all of that stuff that you would do in the regular Chrome locations without one. And in general, this is a really unique item. The thing I really like that people kind of underestimate though, is the ability to transform regular chests into Chrome chests via the Chrome Splash. Even though I don't like the Evo Chrome weapons, so I never see myself doing this, having the ability to transform regular chests into the Chrome chests that you can usually only find in Chrome locations is definitely a unique ability, and it allows you to actually get Chrome weapons by transforming the chest into a Chrome chest. So let's say you have a Chrome Splash and you find a regular chest, or a rare chest, or whatever the case may be. If you use the Chrome Splash on the chest, it will actually transform it into a Chrome chest, which you can only find in Chrome locations. And by doing so, you will not only get the regular loot that you would get from a chest, but you would also get a bonus Evo Chrome weapon by doing this. This is an insanely cool overlooked feature, and even if I don't see myself doing this much, I definitely appreciate that Epic added this small little feature, just in case you're doing a challenge where you might need an Evo Chrome weapon and you just didn't land at a Chrome location, or whatever the case may be. Either way, the Chrome Splash is definitely my favourite new item in the brand new season. But other than that, guys, that is pretty much all I have to talk about when it comes down to the loot pool. This is by far, without a doubt, the best loot pool that Chapter 3 has had so far. In fact, I would argue that this is probably my favourite loot pool since Chapter 2 Season 7. That season had an insanely fun, casual, chaotic loot pool, and that's exactly what this season is. It definitely reminds me of the Invasion season, and I would love to know what you guys think of this loot pool down below, because in my opinion, the loot pools and Chapter 3 metas have been my least favourite part about Chapter 3. So to finally have a perfect balance between old weapons, new additions, whatever the case may be, it's something that I've literally been asking for almost a year now, since Chapter 3 was launched, and the fact that they finally did it with Season 4, and the fact that they did it perfectly at that, is absolutely incredible. And finally, number 4, the storyline. The storyline is the final thing that we are going to discuss today in the grand return of my Initial Thoughts series, and oh my, is the storyline not only really confusing, but really interesting at the same time this season. Let's start off by discussing the launch trailer for this season. The trailer starts off with the origin, looking at the Chapter 3 Season 2 map. This brings me to believe that the Chrome has actually been spreading ever since around the end of Chapter 3 Season 2. Either that or this map is clearly just an oversight, because later on in the trailer, when Paradigm launches out of the tornado, you can actually see that the Chapter 3 Season 3 reality biome is clearly still there. So I don't know if them using the Chapter 3 Season 2 map for the first few seconds of this trailer was a mistake, or if this means that the Chrome has very slowly been spreading ever since Season 2, and we just didn't see it until now. I don't know, but whatever the case, it's really interesting that the Chapter 3 Season 2 map was used here, and it's something that I don't think many people, if anyone at all, has actually brought up. I think I'm the only person that has actually seen this, and if that's the case, then I would really like to know what you guys think about this. Do you think this is simply an oversight on Epic's end, especially as the Season 3 map is used literally in the same trailer, or do you think that the Chrome has actually been around since Season 2? Either way, the Origin is clearly distressed, saying to the scientist,
"Tell me you're getting somewhere."
He clearly wants answers for the Chrome, and he clearly wants to find a solution to it as soon as possible. The Origin definitely does not play games nearly as much as other 7 members, so he is wanting to get down to the bottom of this as soon as possible. Either way, the scientist is clearly investigating this Chrome substance, and he really has not seen anything like it before. But before the scientist could get down to anything, the Chrome rapidly spreads not only onto the microscope that he's using to investigate it, but onto the scientist's hand. And within a few seconds, it completely takes over the scientist's body, melting him into the Chrome itself. That then rapidly spreads onto the Origin's feet, which then rapidly corrupts him as well. And before we even get to hear Visitor say a word, he has been taken by the Chrome as well. Paradigm, in shock, says,
"This isn't how it ends."
And she gets out of there as soon as possible. Paradigm then proceeds to fly around the island, dodging huge pillars of Chrome that are spreading rapidly, turning into what would become Herald's Sanctum later on when the season launches. Their home has been completely taken over by this Chrome and has been transformed into Herald's Sanctum. Meanwhile, as Paradigm is dodging all of this, she gets sucked into a Chrome tornado, something that we see in Herald's Sanctum in-game. She then gets shot out of the tornado and lands in Loot Lake. She then realises that there has to be some way to fix this Chrome, and to do so, Paradigm has officially decided to head towards Reality 659, her home reality.
Aligning to reality 659.
We see the 0-point pulse as the Paradigm enters, and then we finally see the reveal of the Herald for the first time, and that is where the story ends. This is essentially all we know about the story so far. We don't know where this Chrome initially came from. We're assuming right now that it's just from the Herald, since she is technically the cause of it right now, but is that how the Chrome originated here, or does this thing have another source? We don't know for now. But as of right now, all we are doing is assuming that the Herald is the one behind the Chrome, and she is the one corrupting the island as we speak. Either way, the only other piece of information that we know about the storyline right now is that the Chrome throughout Season 4 will actually rapidly spread across the island, corrupting more areas and spreading into a whole new biome. Similar to how Chapter 2 Season 8's corruption spread over the course of the season. It seems like the same situation is going to happen here, and this has actually led people to believe that this might even be the last season of Chapter 3. But that is a story for another day. Either way, that is all we really know about the storyline right now, is that most of the 7 besides Paradigm have been taken by the Chrome. We have no idea where Jones is right now, apart from the fact that he is helping Amy to try and save the 7 and stop the Chrome and the Herald, as seen in this season's Paradise quests. Besides that, we don't really know much else about what's happening with the storyline right now. All we know is that the 7 have been corrupted and taken by this Chrome, the Herald has taken over the Sanctuary, and we have to help the 7 come back to the island and stop the Chrome before it's too late. But yeah guys, that is essentially my initial thoughts on Chapter 3 Season 4 Paradise. This season, as you can tell, is undoubtedly my favourite season of Chapter 3 so far. This is the first time in years where I have genuinely craved to play Fortnite, even when I'm not wanting to or needing to. Like, even when I'm on my breaks, when I'm not uploading, I'm just non-stop playing this season, either alone or with friends. This is the first time since Chapter 1 where I have truly just craved to play Fortnite, even when I don't need to, and that is just absolutely something that I've been dreaming of doing once again. This season will definitely go down as one of my favourite seasons of all time if Epic keeps up this pace that they've done with the launch of the season. After the absolute atrocity that was Chapter 3 Season 3 in my opinion, This season delivered everything and more that I could have wanted from Chapter 3. It delivered a whole new loot pool, pretty much an entire loot pool reset with the exception of a few returning items from last season. It brought back my favourite item of all time, the lever action shotgun, and in general the loot pool is just everything I could have wanted and then some. The storyline is in a really interesting position right now and I cannot wait to see where it goes. The potential of Chapter 4 release next season is huge, and in general, Chapter 3 Season 4 Paradise is by far my favourite season of Chapter 3 thus far. But with that said guys, thank you all for watching, I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, peace out.